Hello, nonprofit leaders. It is great to be here with you. I'm Sarah Olivieri, and today we are talking about a special topic. I'm joining a little late, so I'm going to give folks a moment to join into our live stream here. Life happens. Say hi in the chat if you can, and we'll get going in just a moment. All right. So today we're talking about marketing. Now, for those of you who don't know, I used to run a marketing agency for nonprofits. We did a lot. We did websites. We did social media. We did Google AdWords grants. And I was able to do all this by partnering with some of the top marketing agencies who were dying to work with nonprofits because they wanted to help make an impact, but they couldn't easily because so many nonprofits struggled with strategy and operations in a way that made it so they couldn't take advantage of great marketing. That led to two things. One, me knowing a lot about marketing, and two, leaving the marketing agency to help organizations run better so they could take advantage of great marketing. So here I am. I have no marketing things to sell you, but I have a lot of marketing wisdom to give. And what I have seen over the years is nonprofits both needing great marketing and wasting a lot of money on marketing. So let's break this down for you. Marketing has some key phases. And when we're talking about nonprofits, we're thinking about marketing to fill our programs. We're thinking about marketing to expand our donor base. And we're thinking also sometimes about marketing for an HR purpose to fulfill staff roles. So many people are thinking about bringing in donors. So I'll probably be heavy on the donor examples today. But if you want more examples, feel free to reach out and let me know. Sarah, I'd love to hear more examples about marketing for programs or marketing for HR. So this is what people do wrong. They hear, oh my God, Facebook fundraisers are the rage. You've got to do a Facebook fundraiser. Or, oh my God, you've got to do a porch party, right? That's the best thing. And they move forward from a tactics first approach, right? So having a Facebook fundraiser, having a social media takeover, working with social media influencers, doing a marathon or a walk, having a gala. What are some of the other ways people fundraise? Any fundraising activity is a fundraising tactic. And when nonprofits pick a tactic without first getting clear on what goals they're trying to achieve and overall picking a strategy that's right for them, and they're just tactics first, that's when they really end up wasting a lot of money, because tactics always need certain fundamentals to be in place in order to work. And the tactic first approach means people end up doing activities that they're not properly set up for, and then they end up wasting a lot of money. So let's talk about what to do instead, okay? So we want to think about our marketing activities and actually break them into 3 categories. So we have marketing, and these categories, sometimes I like to call them levers, and they're essentially types of goals. So we need to make a complete marketing strategy. We need to have a goal around finding new people. In marketing speak, we call these leads. So these could be, and these leads are people who know us, know that we exist, and they're in a journey of what marketers say, know, like, and trust. And actually the process is more like we know you exist. We've met you. We know that you exist. We trust you enough to learn more about you to see if we like you. That's usually how the process actually goes. So know, trust, and then like. So we need to do so that's one thing we might have a goal around: getting exposure, increasing visibility to the right kind of people. So if I am an environmental organization, I'm not going to go after, like, I could have a ton of exposure to climate change deniers, but it's not going to bring me the right kind of people, right? I need people that know who I am, who are the right kind of people, who are aligned with my organization. So that's one set of goals, is people who know us, the right kinds of people. So the right fit leads is the language to use. The next, and then there's a whole bunch of tactics. We're not going to get into all the tactics today, but tactics related to the kinds of people you want to know you exist, knowing that you exist, and sharing enough information with them so that they can come to trust you and like you enough to take action, which is the next kind of goal that we need to be thinking about. And the metric related to this goal is conversion rate. So the number of right fit leads who then took an action. That's what it means to convert in marketing. It means they took an action. What kind of action? Maybe we're thinking they subscribe to our email list, or maybe if we're in the donor space, I would be thinking about people who made a second donation. That's my big tip for you, because a one-time donation, I call that a toe in the water. It's a test to see what happened, right? They don't really become a donor until they've made that second donation, right? And dove all the way into the pool. So the number of people who know us, who are converting to becoming a donor, which I like to define, but you define it however you want. Just keep the definition consistent. I like to define as have given a second donation. Then the third lever we think about is lifetime value. So if we're talking about donors, increasing our donor base, lifetime value is a combination of, it's like how much your average donor gives over their lifetime. So there's actually kind of three sub-levers in here. We're thinking about how frequently do they give, times how big their gift is on average, right? So if I give you an average of $10 a year, you'll get, and I stay. And then the third one is how long I stay. So if I give you $10 a year and I stay for 2 years, you end up with $20. If I give on average $20 a year and I stay for 3 years, you get a lifetime value of 30 years. If I stay 3 years and I give an average of $10, but I now give twice a year, that's $20 a year times 3 years. Now we're up to $60, right? So you can see we want to be pulling those three levers. Those are very different activities that we're going to do to increase a donor's lifetime value than the types of activities we're going to do to get new leads, qualified leads, people who are the kinds of people who become donors to come to our organization. So you can actually make a really powerful and simple marketing strategy by listing out these three levers and deciding which one you're going to focus on first. Now, a couple things, you can figure them out with logic once we've broken them down simply like this. Do I need to work on increasing lifetime value for my donors if I don't have any donors? No, right? Because we need to focus on getting new donors. How do we get new donors? We get potential donors to know we exist and come to like us. And then we need to work on getting them to become full donors. Now, when we're really small, we're going to use a human process of getting people to become full donors, where we're just going to talk to them, right? One-on-one, meet them in person, meet them on Zoom, the closest to in person you can have, and tell them, ask them about them, and then tell them about how what you're into is similar to what they're into, right? Just like making a friend. And that is that is the gold standard of how we increase our conversion rate. So we actually don't have to worry a lot about that. We mostly initially are going to focus on bringing in new qualified leads until we have so many leads that we can't have these one-on-one experiences with them to convert them to donors because there's just too many of them. There isn't enough time in the day. That's when we can start thinking about some more different digital strategies to convert more donors than we have enough time for to have conversations. That's where we can think about email nurture or group fireside chats for our donors. Lots of tactics around there. But we don't need to worry about those if we haven't maxed out our schedule of meetings already with people one-on-one. And once we have maxed out our schedule and we've applied some leveraged or scalable ways of converting donors, then we can think about lifetime value of our donors. Okay, let's just give a few examples of how, and let me not forget, I think I said it already. Focus on one of those 3 levers at a time, or 2, like if one just needs a little tweaking and one needs a lot of work. Don't try to work on all 3 at once. You will get bogged down with too much to do and then have very few results. So, pop quiz here. If you are building a website, what kind of goal does that tactic match, right? So, your basic kind of brochure style website, does that help people know that you exist? Does that help people convert to become donors, or does that primarily help increase lifetime value of existing donors? Now, the real complicated answer is it depends on how you build your website, but the main answer is number 2. Websites help take leads, people who know you exist, and that's how they then found your website, and helps them in that process of converting to a full donor. Okay. A website alone is not going to increase awareness about your organization. That's where, though, maybe if you had a blog on your website with really good SEO or social media, those are things that increase awareness. So the website is specifically, so when I hear nonprofits saying, I'm just getting started and first thing I'm going to do is build a website, that's actually not the thing that you need to focus on much. You can have a very basic website. I used to build those for people. I just call it a vanilla website. We basically did white background, black text, and we focused on some key messaging. And that was it. And a very low cost way to get what you need in place to bring those donors along, most of whom you're going to try to have a call with. Okay, let's just give a quick example here from a programmatic perspective. So we need to find, the 3 levers are right fit leads. So in this case, we're talking about the kinds of people who need your services and the type of person who needs your services who's going to be a best fit for your organization, right? So who's going to kind of be in alignment with the way you work. Then we have converting those right fit leads to clients, right? So that's, do they engage, enroll in one of your services, right? Or whatever that looks like for services. And then we're looking at lifetime value. So in this case, it's a little harder to measure, but this is where impact measurement really comes into play. What benefits are they getting from your services? Do you need to modify your services so they get more benefit? Do you need to make it easier for them to engage in multiple of your services? So I had a client who was a large mental health organization, and, maybe a client would come in with their day shelter services for homeless people, but they also offered addiction rehabilitation services and therapeutic services and the care coordination services. So they needed to build pathways so that one person who came in at any one service learned about their other services and engaged in those other services, because essentially the more services with them a person engaged in, the better the outcomes for them. So That lifetime value is a combination of engaging with your services to the completeness that they get the most benefit, or potentially modifying your services to increase your client's lifetime value. What does this look like tactics wise? So in the example I just gave, a simple email series that triggers for every new client that introduces them to the other services that are available, or having a coordinated case person who gets them involved with, kind of like a concierge type service, something like that. All right. So just wrapping up this concept, right? How do we not waste money in marketing? The way we don't waste money is by having a strategy first approach. And actually, marketing strategy is really simple. We look at our 3 levers. We decide which one is the primary one we need to be focused on now. And then we pick the best tactics that are most likely to achieve those results. And the way we don't want to do it is tactics first because an uncle or a board member said, why aren't we doing Facebook fundraisers? Well, that's because our focus is on increasing lifetime value, which means we're doing all sorts of stuff that isn't really out in the public, but our donors are very aware of, our active donors, and it is working really well. Things like conversations that we aren't broadcasting on social media, but that have a very high return on investment. That's all I have for you today. If you'd like tips like these in your email inbox, I share them every week on the Inspired Nonprofit Leadership newsletter. And you can access that at inspirednonprofitleadership.com/sign up. If you, even though I don't do marketing for people anymore, but if you would like to talk to me about developing a marketing strategy and finding the right tactics so that you can hire the right people to execute those tactics for you, I would be happy to talk to you about that. Just complete an application at pivotground.com/application. It's just a few short questions to tell me a little bit about what's going on for you as an organization, and then you'll be able to schedule a call with me, and I'll see if I can help you in some way or refer you on to someone who can. Until next time, it is such a pleasure to be here with you. Please do share these tips with someone who you think would benefit from them, and I will see you soon.